Welcome back to another audio exclusive of Voz y Vida. My name is Emily Rodriguez, and today I want to talk about the art of moving on and understanding when to move on. And this practice could apply to anything. And in this episode, I'll reference a few important key points when I was able to acknowledge that it was time to move on. And what was the reason behind moving on? What was it that I felt? What energy did I feel? What beliefs did I consume that made it difficult for me to move on? I want to start by understanding baggages that I carried up until recently and realizing that most of the bags that I was carrying were not mine, did not belong to me, but I was still taking them. And a lot of those bags were filled with other people's identities, not mine. Certain things, certain triggers would come up where I couldn't understand why they were upsetting me until I realized that they were things that were upsetting me because of the way I was brought up or certain people that I was around or certain things that I was listening to. That played a huge role in my career choices, my relationships, my friendships, most importantly. When it came to friendships, I never was surrounded by anybody who had cultivated long-lasting, healthy, and loving friendships. And that was something that I carried into adulthood, where you could be my friend, I could want to be your friend, but I didn't know how to structure it in a way that could be built upon over a span of years. I didn't even have an expectation for how long a friendship should last. I just knew we're friends, cool, whatever, but I'm going to keep my distance because I don't have a reference on how to take care of this friendship. Because a friendship is almost like a plant. You have to water it. You have to watch it grow. Same thing for a relationship. The only difference is there's no attraction to friendship. Growing up through high school and into my 20s, there was a few friends who stuck around and stuck it out. And I made it very difficult to maintain a friendship with me because I was so guarded and I was so protective of myself. And a lot of it was an ego thing because I felt, well, I don't need friends and you're my friend because you want to be. Keep in mind, I did not know how to value a friendship. And I was holding on to these friendships because I always believed the idea that if you didn't have friends, something was wrong with you. Like, how can't you maintain a friendship? How do you not have friends? Now I'm at the point in my life where the friendships that I was holding on to were not healthy relationships because they didn't have healthy boundaries. And they weren't brought up in a way where I made the other person feel seen, feel loved. It was more, we're friends because we get along. And I had to come to the realization, are these friends that I want around my children? Are these friends that I want at my wedding? Are these friends that I want as my bridesmaids? Or to go through some of the roughest moments in my life that are yet to come? The answer for them was no. So then I had to reflect, why do I call these people my friends? It feels ugly moving on when no one did anything to you. Your friends didn't do anything to betray you, to hurt you, to make it easy for you to exit. We look for that validation. What did you do wrong so that I can leave? When people don't do anything wrong, but you know that something doesn't feel right, that could be very confusing. Especially to me, I went through a very confusing moment because I wanted to let go so bad, but I felt so guilty because the other person never did anything wrong to me. They were nothing but an amazing friend. But I needed to let go so that I could reset my boundaries, reset my focus, reset what is really important. What is my definition of a friendship? When I finally accepted that I can let go without an explanation, without the other person doing anything mean, bad, malicious to me, that's when I truly felt free. And it allowed me space. Imagine what a good friendship is like. Not a perfect friendship. I never seek perfection in anything because everything requires growth. It requires sacrifice. It requires time. It requires attention. But I was seeking, what is my ideal friendship? My faith has grown tremendously over time. I've mentioned that many, many times in my episodes. So having a friend who believes in God, believes in not necessarily my religion, but just in a higher power, that there's more to life than who we are here on earth. I have yet to be surrounded by anybody that I can openly talk about trials and tribulations and how my faith plays a huge role in that. Are great examples as parents or as partners to their marriage or their spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, but just good, healthy, loving relationships. Lifestyle. How do you live? Do you live in a way that I can be inspired by you? Or do you live in a way that we can bounce off of each other and grow? Because any friendship relationship requires taking and giving, taking and giving. And a lot of my friendships are I'm taking. So learning how to give is also new for me. Now on to the most challenging relationship is relationships with boyfriends, husbands, etc. I remember I was dating someone. I think actually all the people I've dated. There's always been a moment where I just knew this does not feel right. Something is off here. And I couldn't pinpoint it to any feeling in my body, my chest, my heart, my brain, nothing. I just knew this is not going to last. Some people I appreciated very dearly, and same thing, they did nothing wrong to me. It just didn't feel right. A lot of it did have to do with me, but a lot of it I did rely on my inner compass to direct me and guide me away from these people. And it has not failed me yet. But in a lot of these relationships, I didn't know how to move on because I didn't value myself. I didn't understand what it was to love myself, to be one with myself. And I always thought that if you ever felt highly about yourself, you were a narcissist. And I never wanted to be a narcissist. So I would feed these lies to myself. The moment I felt like, wow, I did such a great job on that project, I was like, that's narcissistic. But looking back and I'm like, that has nothing to do with being narcissist. If anything, it's me just being proud of how creative I am and how I was able to complete a task. Or if I thought one day I looked beautiful, I would immediately cut that feeling off, depriving myself of that joy that I give myself because I didn't want to be quote unquote narcissistic. I'm here to tell you that it's actually quite the opposite. When you learn to love yourself and appreciate your creativity, your uniqueness, your hard work, and just who you are as a person, you then allow yourself to grow more into that feeling instead of cutting it off and depriving yourself of it. You connect with yourself more. You admire who you are as a being and how beautiful it is to be you. And in turn, that reflects onto the people that you are around. Some people can't handle that because they wish they could be that. And they can, but it's all inner work. It's all a decision that you have to make in order for God or the universe to support you in that direction. Moving on from family. Family is the hardest in my opinion. There's also beliefs about blood is thicker than water and family's going to be with you forever and X, Y, Z, all of these things. And the truth is, I personally love my family. I adore my family. But there's a lot of baggage that I'm carrying that is not mine to carry. And so slowly releasing these things, you understand, like, I'm not moving on from you. I'm just learning to cultivate my peace and to almost like have this orb of light around me that protects these bags from coming in, these identities from coming in, these feelings from coming in. I can easily decide who am I around that makes me feel seen, that makes me feel happy, that I can connect with on a genuine level without gossiping, without anything, without any negative energy intruding on that presence of the other person. And that's truly how I decide, do I want to move on from this person, whether it's family, friend, relationship? If those qualities are not present, there's no way that I could benefit or grow from those relationships. But for the most part, I can love you from a distance. I could still have good feelings towards you and pray for you and hope the best for you. At this point in my life and moving forward, we don't have a benefit to each other. I can't give to you and I don't want to take from you either. I was talking to my daughter the other day and I just told her, I love you so much. Like, I love you so much. And it's easy for me because I'm her mother. And she's like, I love you too. And then she's like, but maybe when I'm older, I won't. And for a second, I was hurt. And then I said, you know what? I hope you do. But if you don't, I understand. And that's a huge statement to make on my part, because I think I always thought you have to love your blood. You have to love people who love you. And no, that's not an idea that I want to feed to her, because it's a pre-notion of an idea that's not mine. It's baggage, identity that's not mine. And I don't want to hand that bag off to her because it's too heavy for me. That bag has been released. And now I can tell her, if for whatever reason you feel like you don't want to continue a friendship, don't want to continue being around me, it's going to suck. And I hope that I provide a safe space for her to have that conversation with me. But I think she'll love me forever, just because I'm growing into this new role as a mother where there's boundaries, and I respect your boundaries. And I'm excited to teach you boundaries. And if something doesn't feel right to you, who am I to tell you that what you're feeling is wrong? Whether I'm your mom, whether it's your dad, only she knows what she feels. And I hope to strengthen that intuition for her. That is moving on from relationships. Now, when we're talking about moving on from careers, this is an interesting topic for me that I went through and I'm still going through, and I'm still learning on how to grasp it and understand it. Have owned, started many, many different brands, many, many different businesses, jewelry, clothing, real estate, beauty business, like you name it. I dabbled in a few of them. I was chasing after all these things because I thought that they would make me feel worthy of myself and that I would look worthy in the eyes of others because I was doing something. Most of these things I did for other people, and they did not fill me with the feeling that I was chasing after, that I thought people would acknowledge. Moving to Miami has taught me so much. I thought moving here I would sell real estate or I would start up my beauty industry again. And I forced myself to do it because those were the only things that I knew at the time. I didn't even give myself an opportunity to reinvent what is it that I really like. And so I tried real estate, and I just slowly, it just started dying. It wasn't because I was discouraged. I knew that I had what it took to get it done here. It was just a feeling inside of me where I said, no, this is not it. Like, something is pulling me away from real estate. Something is pulling me away from the beauty industry, because I had to sit with myself and say, okay, if money wasn't an issue, I could build my dream life right here, right now. What would I be doing? If I had a day where everything was taken care of, financially, home-wise, emotionally, what would I be doing? And those things were not on my list. Real estate was definitely not on my list. Beauty industry, definitely not on my list. There were other things that were on my list, but I haven't figured out how to pursue it or make a business out of it because I'm scared to move on from things that did nothing wrong to me. Real estate has done nothing. If anything, it's been an abundance of what it's done for me, for my life, for my daughter's life. Lash business, abundance. And so walking away from things when they're good, that's hard. That's really, really hard. And stepping into the unknown, one would rather not do it. Me, I'm like, I have it so good here. Why would I want to push the boundary and see if what I really enjoy is worth it? Of course it's worth it. Of course it is worth it. Because you're pursuing something that your heart desires, that you have an interest in, that you can, I don't want to use the word passion, but that you can use as a driving force to push you forward. And I know what it is for me. I just have to decide to move on. I hope that this episode has given you some insight that even though these things that you want to move on from aren't giving you a reason to disconnect from them or discontinue them, and if you could live in a world just for a few seconds in meditation where you have everything, you have all the finances you need, you have all the support you need, you have all the love, all the guidance, because you do. If you could live in that space for a few minutes under meditation, what would that look like for you? Does it mirror the same life you're living now? Or does it require a lot of change on your part to get there? Thank you for tuning in to another week. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'll chat with you guys soon. My name is Emily Rodriguez, and this is my voice, and this is my story.